Hi, this is Subalakshmi from the Department of CommerceCA SF4 College, Sivakasi. So once again I am very happy to see you all through this video. So in this video we can see about the 360-degree performance appraisals. So this is one of the hot topic in the HRM, that is the human resource management. So the performance appraisal is very essential and most needed. So in this process of assessing an employee's work performance based on several criteria. So it plays a key role in managing, developing and motivating, especially for motivating the employees through motivations. So the not only the performance of the individuals increases, but also increases the performance of the organizations also. So it measures the productivity, strength and weakness of the organizations. So and also provide feedbacks and a plan for your future career development. So we already know that the traditional methods of performance appraisal, that is a rating scale method. So some of the other methods, these are older and focused techniques for evaluating the past performance and personality traits. So using a structured forms like rating scales, rankings, checklist, essays and some other method for analyzing the performance appraisals. So next, after some years we have revised the performance appraisal through some modern methods. So here are some of the methods. So among these methods, the 360-degree feedback and the 720-degree feedback is very essential and also needed for many organizations, especially for the large scale organizations. So this type of performance appraisal is needed by every organizations. So here the 360-degree performance appraisal. So it is the modern appraisal method in the HRM topic. So where an employee performance is evaluated using a feedback from multiple sources. So highlighted the multiple sources because feedback should be collected from many of them to appraise the employees. So rather than the immediate supervisor. So in the traditional based methods, majority the feedback should be, the performance appraisal should be from the immediate supervisors. But here the feedback should be collected from multiple sources to appraise the employees. So 360-degree performance appraisal simply means it is a comprehensive evaluation system. Feedback is collected from the immediate supervisor, peer groups or the colleagues, subordinates, or even though self-evaluation is considered for the performance evaluations, and the customers. It is applicable to large organizations, even he can get the feedback from customers also. So next are the components of your 360-degree assessment. So here the some of the components or the evaluation methods to appraise the performance of the employees. The first one is a self-evaluations. So here the self-evaluations are considered as one of the performance appraisals. So next the manager, peer groups, subordinates and also the stakeholders of the organization also. So here the performance appraisal methods. So some of the methods to evaluate, analyze the performance appraisals. So the first one is the rating scale method. Here it is nothing but just to score 1 to 10 scoring system to evaluate the delivery, attitude, recognitions and potential salary adjustments. The second one is the rating method. So in this method the compares the employees within the same tier based on a numerical data. So based on the numerical data we can rank it and then categorize the performance as excellent, poor and so on. So the third one is a free form method. So in this method the subjective evaluation by the supervisors with detailed examples like strength and weakness and other non-quantitative evaluation just like a behavior, attitude, skill, etc. So the fourth one is the confidential reporting methods. So it is common in government organizations. So it involves the private reports from the supervisors on conduct and responsibility, confidentiality for sensitive purpose. So this report remains confidential and accessible only to the senior managers or a HR. So only the top level management can only access the confidential reporting. So the last method is a BARS method. So BARS simply means behaviorally anchored rating scale method. So here to assess the job performance objectively through assigned points like good, average, bad, worst. So simply we have to give the points to the employees. So next process, how the 360-degree appraisal is made. So based on this following process, so the first one is, first we have to identify the criteria. So first set the criteria. So next select raters. Third one is design the feedback form. So we have to design feedback form based on the top level management's needed things. So based on the needed, we have to give the feedback forms, design the feedback forms. So the next one is, after designing the feedback form, we should collect the feedback confidentially. After collecting, we have to analyze the data and share the results. So the last one is the prepare development plan. So according to the results, we have to plan for a future development plan. So here are the some of the advantages and disadvantages of the performance appraisal. So the performance report, so identifies the strength, weakness, set clear goals and provide for a growth and career development. So for that we have to prepare the performance report. So what is the need for this training? So we have to give and invest more and more money on the training before identify the need. So for that identifying the need, we should need the performance appraisal. So provides guidance to the staffs. So we should clearly identify the moves, pros, cons to the staff, because the staff are considered as the blood of the organization. So without the staff we cannot do nothing. So the next one is helps to increase motivations. So through motivations, the employee performance also increases, and also which increases the performance of the organizations also. So the last one is ensure better communications. So through communications between the top management and the lower level management, majority of the problems are solved. So majority of the organizations lacks the communications. So there is no proper communications between the higher level to the lower level. So this performance appraisals ensure a better communications between the managements and the employees. So the next, the disadvantages, it consumes more time. Of course it consumes more and more time, because each and every employees are to be evaluated through many of the methods to perform the appraisal. So it consumes more and more time. So it is a stressful process. It is not a one-time process, it is a continuous process. So it is going on in more ways. So it is a stressful, once time we feel it is more stressful than the traditional method of performance appraisals. So the next one is the possibility of inaccuracy. Sometimes it leads to inaccurate due to the analysis of the data. Sometimes the data getting from the feedback. So feedback through majority of the sources like client, supervisor, colleagues. Sometimes they give a negative feedback or false feedback. This lead to the inaccuracy of the data. So the last one is chances of biased rating. So sometimes this leads to the biased rating. So majority of the employees support who support me. So this leads to the positive feedback on a negative persons. So this leads to a biased rating. So at last, conclusions. So 360-degree performance appraisal is an effective and also a modern HRM practices and tools. So this improves performance through multi-source feedback. So not only the feedback from a single person, he can get a feedback from majority of the persons, including the client also. So when implemented, so this 360-degree appraisal implemented properly with the transparency and confidentiality. So there is no knowledge about the 360-degree performance. So the amount invested in the performance appraisal is totally wrong. So this leads to the also employee growth and also the organizational success. So hope you like this video. So this video gives somewhat information about the 360-degree performance appraisal. So this appraisal is most significant to every organizations. So if you can use it. Thank you.